everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Tobin Community Center and the Boston Centers for Youth and Families Central Office. My name is Malta Rivera. I'm the Interim Commissioner of the Boston Centers for Youth and Families. And you are in the Memorial Garden of Ida Graves, who was an incredible woman in the community. So it's so fitting that as we announce the plans for the summer and creating safe spaces and havens in the community, that we are doing it here. Because as someone who grew up in the Mission Hill community, I can say that Ms. Graves was someone who made sure that we had those spaces. She made sure that children were safe in the community. She volunteered here at the Tobin Community Center. She worked at the Tobin School. And before I could make it home, Ms. Graves made sure that my mother knew exactly where I was. So again, it's so fitting that we are here in this incredible space dedicated to her today, making today's announcement. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Mayor, Michelle Wu.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you to our incredible all-star team standing up here and the many, many city team members who have been involved and represented from these departments who've been working for months on how we can coordinate, integrate our efforts, and really bring about the summer that is healthy, exciting, joyful, safe for all of our young people and all of our families in the city. So before we launch into the details of that, I do want to introduce someone who's been an incredible partner for the city, a leader in our faith community, a leader in our education advocacy community, and in fighting for economic opportunity and equity in all ways. My friend, someone I've known for some time, who's going to open us up with a prayer, Reverend Billy Bodrick.
Thank you, Mayor Wu, and good afternoon to each and every one of you. Before I pray, I just want to take a moment of silence to acknowledge the carnage that has happened in both East Buffalo and in Texas at an elementary school. 19 children's lives were lost and 2 adults, 1 an educator. So we could just take a moment of silence at this time. O God of justice, mercy, and peace, we come to you on this day to lift up our city and our nation as we are all feeling the heaviness of the lives that have been lost to senseless violence across our land. We pray for those 10 lives that were taken at a Tops grocery store in East Buffalo, New York, due to white supremacist violence. We pray for the families of the 19 children, their parents, and those adults were killed at Robb Elementary School in Texas. We are praying that these victims will find eternal peace and that their families will gain some sense of comfort in the midst of their deep grief. God, we also pray that this nation does not accept this violence as a norm, but that we proactively do something about the violence we're experiencing and implement policies and practices to ensure that we have safe communities. And that is why we gather on this day. That is why we are partnering in this community. That is why we are connecting city with advocates and with leaders and with young people to ensure that the resources and supports are provided and necessary to stem the tide of violence and to promote peace. So God, my prayer is that you heal this land, that you grant unto us your grace and your mercy, and that we have a safe summer here in Boston and across our land. Let all those who believe in hope and peace say together, amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much again, Reverend Bodrick. Thank you again, Commissioner Rivera, for hosting us here today. As you had heard, it is very, very difficult to be standing here less than 24 hours after a gunman walked into a school, an elementary school, and took the lives of so many. And less than 2 weeks ago, we also mourned another set of mass shootings in Laguna Woods and in Buffalo. And while these didn't take place in Boston, too many in our communities live with the fear and threat of violence in neighborhoods. And as a mom to 2 boys, as a neighbor, someone who cherishes the friends, family, and community that we have here in Boston, we will move with urgency to make sure that our communities are safe. Yesterday, we announced our warm weather plan for the area near Mass Ave and Melnia Cass Boulevard. And today, we're here to announce the steps that our city will be taking to ensure the safety of our residents all summer and beyond. With this sampling of incredible departments represented here, serving our youth, our Boston Police, Public Safety Arm, Community Engagement, Human Services, Boston Public Health Commission, Youth Engagement and Employment, Youth Green Jobs, Boston Housing Authority, and our partners in the faith community represented by Reverend Bodrick, as well as represented by Bishop Nicolas Homicil of the Voice of the Gospel Tabernacle. We are so blessed in Boston to have long-standing, deep partnerships focused on lifting up our young people and making sure that they have every resource that our city has to offer. So this summer, we've been connecting our public safety and economic opportunity and community building through the lens of health, equity, and community trust. I'm joined here today by leaders across these departments to talk about the wraparound approach that we're taking to create new violence intervention and prevention initiatives and expand and improve existing programs. We're also here with our community partners. I know Mission Safe and so many of our youth engagement organizations are represented here and in the work and the planning that's gone into this. So my job today is mostly just to give a little introduction and then get out of the way for the experts to share what the departments have been working on. So we'll start first with our Community Ambassadors Program, which will focus on engaging and supporting residents impacted by gun violence, not only by working to prevent these incidents, but by encouraging young people to reconsider their relationships to their neighborhoods and build community. So to share more about this program, I'd like to introduce Dr. Rufus Falk, our Senior Advisor on Public Safety.
Thank you, Mayor. Quite frankly, it's definitely difficult to be here at this time, at this moment. My daughter's a second grader, so it's definitely difficult, but as we always do, we try to persevere, show resiliency, and make sure the work continues to get done. This Community Ambassadors Program is an extension of the Mayor's vision to make sure that we're bringing City Hall outside of the building and into the neighborhoods and into the community. And our ambassadors are those individuals who already have those ties. We are leveraging their community buy-in, their social networks to help us to bring resources from City Hall directly to the neighborhood and individuals who need them the most. So the structure of this program is going to be two-person teams dedicated to engaging not only youth, but young adults and families directly to services that are available within our city buildings and in our city departments, but most importantly to our partners as well. I see Youth Connect in the back. Youth Connect is one of our major partners who helps support some of our mental health social services and make sure that our families and those individuals most directly impacted are receiving them. So the Community Ambassadors Program is an opportunity for us to leverage those community leaders who oftentimes don't have positions at these tables, who oftentimes will get to stand here and do press conferences. But those are the individuals who actually have to say so in our neighborhoods and in the communities. And they are oftentimes the tangible examples of what success looks like, the transition of yourself from being gang involved to being somebody who's successful as an adult. So the applications are open. We are looking for individuals who are committed to our communities. We have a few applicants already. One of them is actually one of a graduate of our Operation Exit program who's succeeding in the construction field, but still recognizes that he has a debt to pay to the community that he once, I'm not going to say harmed, but I will say that he caused some issues in it. So he wants to give back. And I know there are many young adults and adults who want to give back to the neighborhood. It's an opportunity for them to do so. So the Community Ambassadors Program is a vehicle that the City of Boston created to reestablish those relationships between neighborhood and city government, but also most importantly to recognize that the assets are in the neighborhoods, the assets are not in the building. So that's my brief spiel, but I'll be around to answer any questions about the Community Ambassadors Program. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Falk. We are also, as a city, reinstating Operation Homefront, a collaboration between the Boston Police and the Boston Public Schools. And this team, made up of these two agencies, our service providers and clergy members, will focus on strengthening connections with young people's families to provide resources for violence prevention. And so I'd like to invite up Superintendent Brenda Cassellius, followed by Commissioner Greg Long, to say more about this partnership.
Good morning. I join everyone here that we have heavy hearts this morning. Yesterday's tragic events and loss of precious life illustrates the seriousness of the work ahead for all of us. Nothing is more important than the safety of our children and ensuring they get to be children, free of worry and free of adult problems. I often say that children only get one childhood. They should not have to be scared to walk to school, to be bullied, or to witness gun violence and outright killing in our country. We just have to do better. We must pass common sense gun laws and craft special programs to get guns off our streets and out of the hands of those who would do harm. Let's give our children back their childhoods, and let's protect them from this senseless violence. The safety and well-being of all of our students and staff are on all of our minds, not just this morning, but every single day and night. When it comes to our students, they deserve every ounce of our attention and our coordinated support. They deserve to come home safe and sound. They deserve to be cared for by trustworthy adults. And they deserve to learn in safe and welcoming classrooms, free of fear and worry. Learning is not possible if a young person is afraid of what will happen in school or on the way to school, or if they experience violence in any way in their home, in school, or within the community. We are committed to providing our students with the quality educational opportunities in a safe learning environment free from any violence, harassment, bullying, discrimination, hate crimes, any violence at all, where all students and community members, we want to treat each other with respect and appreciate the rich diversity within our schools. The last 3 years have been so difficult for our students and our staff as they have had to confront the challenges of COVID-19, compounding in many cases trauma on top of trauma, and yesterday just adds to the pain and the fear. It's going to take all of us to keep our children safe. As I've said from my earliest days in Boston, it's going to take an all-hands-on-deck approach. We have a number of city agencies, community partners, and services working together to serve as major resources to coordinate these citywide initiatives that the mayor just announced. With summer jobs and summer school on the way, efforts like the Operational Homefront relaunching. Thank you, Chief Coakley-Grice, for your previous work with that Operation Homefront. It's going to be relaunching, and we believe that collectively we'll be able to connect families to resources and provide wraparound supports, building the deep relationships necessary so that students feel supported and families feel supported, and they know how to get help. Youth summer jobs are also an effective violence prevention tool. This summer, 6,000 youth ages 14 to 18 through the Success Link Summer Jobs Program will have work jobs available to them. Youth, parents, guardians, and caretakers are encouraged to visit youth.boston.gov to learn more and apply today. We know we can do more, and today's announcement is just the first step in our shared commitment and work together to ensure our students are active, healthy, and safe this summer. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I just kind of want to echo sentiments that you've previously heard. I'd just like to acknowledge all the victims, the unimaginable tragedies that we've seen in Buffalo and yesterday in Texas. I'd ask you just keep all those victims, their families, their communities in your prayers, and all the first responders that responded to those gruesome scenes. I just want to take a moment to talk about the Boston Police Department's plans as we head into the summer. Historically, summer's been a challenging time in terms of addressing violence in our city. With the warmer months, you've seen an increase in activity. The last 2 weeks alone, the men and women of the Boston Police Department have recovered over 25 firearms and multiple arrests resulting from that. I highlight that just to show that it's going to take the collective efforts of everybody in here. It'll take the collective efforts of the Boston Police Department, city agencies, the clergy, our community stakeholders, and everybody else to ensure the safest summer possible. I'm confident with what you're going to hear today and the plan that you're going to hear today and the programs that we'll be able to do just that. Specifically in terms of Boston Police Department deployment this summer, we're going to continue to rely on our intelligence-driven data to focus on those individuals that are driving violence in those areas where there's an uptick in violence. Those individuals, those small group of individuals that are driving violence, will continue to work with the District Attorney's Office and the U.S. Attorney's Office to hold them accountable. Gun violence can never be acceptable and will not be accepted in our neighborhoods. It's that simple, and we're going to hold you accountable for that. In terms of addressing that violence, we're going to supplement our district's efforts with our BRIC, the Boston Regional Intelligence Center, our Youth Violence Strike Force, our Drug Control Unit, as well as our Bike Unit. Our auto theft unit will continue to focus on off-road vehicles. Clearly, in the warmer months, we've seen they become a public safety issue as well as a quality of life issue. We'll continue to address them through investigations, citations, seizures, and arrests if need be. I think that our efforts go a long way towards curbing that. What I would ask is that the public has had a big part to play in that the last couple of years. If you know where those off-road vehicles are being stored, please call the Boston Police Department. We can call our tip line, 1-800-494-TIPS. We've had a lot of successful operations that have resulted from community input, and we appreciate your efforts in that. Also this summer, you're going to see an increase in Boston Police presence in our open spaces, our parks and playgrounds, to ensure people that are outside enjoying the warm weather feel safe. We'll continue to work with the schools, the summer programs to provide safety around the schools. We've also met about 2 weeks ago with the Boston Licensing Board. Our licensed premise unit, as well as our district detectives, will work with them to ensure that our licensed premises across the city are keeping an eye on and addressing violence inside, outside of their establishments. We're also going to be responding to late night parties. Again, with the warm weather, people are outside, they want to enjoy themselves. We want to make sure that people are being respectful of their neighbors and also having parties and gatherings that don't turn violent. In addition to everything I just mentioned, probably most importantly, we're going to continue, our valued and positive interactions with our community partners. Our Bureau of Community Engagement, headed by Superintendent Chin, as long as in addition to our community service offices, do a fantastic job all summer long, or all year long, interacting with our residents. They're going to continue to implement their signature programs during the summertime, and our community service offices will try to get to every single event as humanly possible. With that community interaction, it's invaluable in terms of our relationship with the community, and we have every intention on continuing to do that. In closing, what I'd like to talk about, what you've kind of heard here, it's always been a philosophy of the Boston Police Department, all right, is to identify individuals, at-risk youth, of families that need services. It's already been mentioned, and I want to mention it. One of our valued partners since I was a patrolman is Youth Connect. I can't say enough about the job Youth Connect does. We have social workers that are in our stations, in our specialized units. It allows officers and detectives to refer individuals to these social workers that clearly need help, their families need help, in an effort to steer them away from violence. Without their help, I don't know what to say. There's probably no, can't measure it, but I'd be hard-pressed for me to sit here and say that they have not changed and significantly altered the direction of people's, countless, hundreds of people's lives over the year, and I appreciate it. And in terms of the Homefront program that was mentioned, again, having participated in that also when I was a patrolman, I can't say enough about that. Again, identifying students, okay, that are going down the wrong roads, it enables us to get to them, get social services to them and their families, and keeping them away, from a path that none of us want them to get down. So again, like I said, earlier, I am confident in the plan the city has and the collective efforts of everyone in here that we're going to be able to ensure a safe summer for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you so much, Superintendent. We are also today announcing the Adopt a Block initiative, which will start June 1st. This revives a partnership with faith-based organizations and communities to connect more deeply with residents and families in neighborhoods impacted by violence. And so I'd like to invite back up Pastor Roderick from 12th Baptist Church to tell us more about this.
Thank you, Mayor Wu. As a faith leader, I am deeply committed, along with our faith community here in Boston, and we believe that it is important that we connect deeply with our community, with our young people, with our elders, to ensure that there are healthy opportunities that are provided to create a safe summer. At 12th Baptist Church, for years, we have been in our community doing peace walks, and we've been able to partner with various organizations, with our city, with our law enforcement, to be out in the community and to walk in our community and get to know our neighbors. It has been a blessing to our church and a blessing to our partners, as well as to those who serve in our communities. We want to make sure that every block in Boston is provided for and resourced, and most importantly, safe. We should be excited for the summer. We should be excited to get back together and to convene, but we want to do that safely. We acknowledge the impact of the pandemic, and we recognize that there's a lot of hurt, trauma, and grief. And sometimes that has an impact on the ways in which we all respond. And so we want to make sure that we are engaging families, working very closely with Mayor Wu, and Brother Will Dickerson and his team and all the city staff to ensure that we can adequately address the needs of our community and to make sure that we have the resources to not only curtail violence, but to create healthy engagements with one another. And so we are excited about this partnership. We're excited for the re-envisioning of this opportunity to build safe communities, to adopt these blocks. And as we move forward, we hope that this is a model that will be replicated across our city in every block that we have. So I want to thank Mayor Wu. I want to thank the city. I want to thank each and every one of our community partners. And we look forward to having a healthy and safe summer this year. God bless.
The Boston Centers for Youth and Families also organizes summer programs all summer long to keep our young people active and safe with teen employment and sports leagues. And these centers, like Commissioner Rivera had mentioned here, for her own childhood and story, are life-changing. These are a critical safe haven for so many across our communities, and I'm really grateful to the Commissioner and the entire team at BCYF for working to provide summer programs and extending the hours this summer to keep these spaces available longer and open for our young people. The Boston Public Health Commission offers intervention and prevention programs, including the Safe and Successful Youth Initiative, which connects young people impacted by gun violence to mental health services and education and skills programs. And so I do want to give the chance for our Chief of Human Services, Jose Masso, to say a few words, as well as is Reverend Scott, and then Reverend Mark Scott representing Boston Public Health Commission after that.
Thank you so much, Mayor Wu, for the opportunity to talk about all the great work taking place at Boston Centers for Youth and Families. First and foremost, I also want to echo the sentiments shared today. As a father of a 10-year-old and 14-year-old, this morning's drive to school was a little bit slower. My embrace was a little bit longer. With that, I am thankful for all the great work that's taking place with our staff members at BCYF. The many great things that are happening here at the Tobin with John Jackson and his staff and his team, ensuring that there's safe, engaging, high-quality programs for young people in this community. Same with our girls program and Africa Butler and all the great work that she's done and all the wonderful things that's taking place throughout the city. Big round of applause, please. Just to acknowledge and uplift the wonderful staff members that I've had the opportunity to meet over the past 3 weeks. And it's amazing the many Bostonians that have a connection to our BCYF centers, that have a story similar to Commissioner Rivera, that they share with us and say what these centers have meant to them. We are ensuring that as we go through our summer months, that our young people, when they get older, could also have the same stories. If they could say that they participated in a glow-in-the-dark dodgeball tournament at our High Park Center, or they were with their parents in the pickleball tournament as well at many of our other centers as well. So these are not only safe spaces and engaging spaces for our young people, but for our families, our aging population, where they could go and play bridge. So as this past weekend acknowledged during the heat emergency, we are opening our spaces for families, for young people, and for all residents to be engaged, to be committed, and to reconnect with each other, especially on the heels of the pandemic. So thank you once again, and make sure you check out our website to get more information on the programming that's taking place for this upcoming summer, Camp Joy, all the many quality programs that are taking place. Get the information needed. Make sure you register as well. Thank you.
I want to start by holding up something that was given to me this morning about Grove Hall Neighborhood Resources. This was put together by 8 students at the Burke High School. And so I just want to shout out young people themselves for the things that they do to improve and make their neighborhood safe. The mayor mentioned the Safe and Successful Youth Initiative, and that indeed does serve those most impacted by community gun violence. And we're appreciative of the state for the support for that program in terms of funding, but it stops serving people at the age of 24. And what we're aware of by looking at the evidence is that there are people much older than that who are involved in and impacted and made most vulnerable to community gun violence. So we've been able to, with some additional resources from the city, to be able to serve older adults who need to be connected with mental health services, education services, and back into the workforce. And so we're being able to expand that. We call it the Men's Health Initiative, and that we will be able to continue to do that work throughout the summer. And then, in spite of all of what we've talked about, we will experience violence this summer. And so the Neighborhood Trauma Team Network is a network of many organizations, 25, 26, 27 organizations, from the very large hospitals with the emergency departments to small grassroots organizations that are embedded in the neighborhood. And one is the Trauma Response Team. And so those are the people who will come out into the community in the aftermath of community violence and to begin the healing process as they partner with the hospitals, as they partner with community-based organizations, as they work with the community health centers to get people on the road to recovery and healing. That's the Neighborhood Trauma Team Network.
Thank you, Reverend Scott. Thank you, Chief Masso. Okay, the last segment is around youth opportunities and jobs. We know that one of the most effective ways to prevent violence is by expanding opportunities to get involved in our communities and to get those professional development opportunities. That's why we're working to connect young residents with summer jobs. And in just the last 4 weeks, we've received over 3,500 applications for our Youth Summer Jobs program. And we're working with over 200 nonprofit partners to fill every spot we have of the 6,000 slots. We're also connecting young people with opportunities to gain hands-on experience in the jobs necessary for a green economy through our Youth Green Jobs initiative. When we invest in our young people, everyone in our communities benefit. And so I'd like to invite up Rashad Cope, the Director of Youth Engagement and Employment, to speak about our Youth Summer Jobs, followed by Davo Jefferson of our Youth Green Jobs initiative.
Mayor Wu, thank you very much. I'm going to be very short and sweet. As Superintendent Casilius mentioned, summer jobs is a violence prevention strategy. It is our responsibility to ensure every young person here in the city of Boston that wants access to a summer job is able to have a summer job. There are roughly about 3,000 or so summer job opportunities still available for young people. Our engagement outreach team has been doing an incredible job, as well as our employment team, pushing young people through the process and engaging and connecting with young people across schools, across the neighborhoods. We encourage each one of you all to share the message and make sure that if you come in contact with a young person, with a family that is looking for a summer job opportunity, please direct them to our webpage, youth.boston.gov, and together we will make sure that young people are engaged in summer opportunities. So just want to say that and thank you.
How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. I'm Dave O. Jefferson. I'm the Executive Director of Power Corps Boston. Power Corps Boston is one of many of the components that make up Mayor Wu's Green New Deal. We are a workforce development program, and we will be training folks to be employed in the green industry. Little nervous up here. This is my first time at a press conference, but I'm going to do what I got to do here because this is for the young folks that I'm serving out in the community. So Power Corps Boston is a workforce development training program, and we will be preparing folks to get employed and trained to get jobs in the green industry. So what is the green industry? It's anything that has to deal with climate change or environmental justice. We'll be looking at a few different spaces in the green industry, but we'll be initially starting with forestry. Forestry will allow us to look at stuff like planting, pruning, occasionally cutting, but primarily maintenance of our tree canopy in the city of Boston. What will a person get through coming through our program? They'll receive $550 per week while they're going through the training. They'll receive hard and soft skills, which will prepare them for the line of work they're doing and also help them to navigate the spaces and settings that they'll be doing this work in. And they'll also receive support services, wraparound type services that allow them to navigate any obstacles that they'll encounter while they're going through this training. Some of the requirements for our program participants: you need to be a Boston resident. You need to be between the ages of 18 to 30. You need to have a high school diploma, GED, or a high set. We highly recommend anybody that's had any kind of interaction with the criminal justice system to apply. This might be a great opportunity for you. We are launching June 13th, so soon coming. You can check us out at powercorpsboston.org to register for a young person or to refer a person. We're also hiring, so you can check open positions out on bpda.org. We have a few open positions, super competitive salaries, so might be a good opportunity for some folks to join our team. And I want to thank the mayor for helping to put this together. It's a really good opportunity for our young folks to make a big difference in their communities and helping to fight climate change and also make some money while doing so. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Dave O. Jefferson, powercorps.org. Check us out if you have a young person that might be a good fit for our program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Cope and Director Jefferson. That is it. It's a taste of what the city's been working on. We are truly coming at this from every angle to create the spaces, the programming, the supports and services and partnerships that we need to truly wrap around our young people and families this summer and to deliver the joyful, safe summer that we all deserve after so many years and such challenge. We really want to emphasize today that the safety of the city is really our collective responsibility. And so we're working to break down every possible silo and barrier within city government and to invite in everyone from our communities to be part of this as well. Thank you so much. Any questions for anyone up here?
Are you taking a look at safety protocols in the schools?
Oh, sorry, I'm trying. Let's start here and then here.
What were some of the security measures in Boston over the schools in light of this strategy?
So, of course, we sent a note around with resources to our families last night. We also met with our principals over safety procedures. Rick Duraney, who's here with us today, as well as Deputy DePina and Chief Coakley Grice are also here, have been working directly on our safety plans. As you know, every year schools have to have safety plans in our schools. We do intruder drills, but not with our students. We do that with our faculty and staff so they know how to exit the building, that sort of thing. And so we've asked our principals to review those with their staffs and make sure that we are adequately prepared. We also partner with BPD and community policing as well and assessing all threats. We do that in collaboration with the mayor's office, and so making sure that we keep our pulse on any threats that are out there.
Do you want Chief or Commissioner to add anything to that?
Are you doing anything differently today in light of what happened yesterday? Are you reviewing the safety protocols? I mean, we look at Charlestown last week where Chief Uncensored School, make sure that Condon School yesterday where the children was able to get what kinds of concerns are those in light of what happened?
The question is, are we doing anything different from yesterday?
Well, I know that the principals are working directly with their staff and holding meetings with their staff to make sure that they understand their safety plans, and they're just reviewing all of their procedures that they do regularly. But today, I think, is a day where they'll be caring for their students and doing circles and trying to help their students manage through what they saw yesterday.
I want to highlight, throughout the year, each district has a list of schools that are that are assigned to their district. So it doesn't just happen like today. It goes, every day of the school year. We have officers assigned to these schools in the morning, the afternoon, so they already have that coverage from the Boston Police Department. In terms of the procedures of the Boston Public Schools, our school police unit and our police, we work with them to go over that. There's going to be discussions in terms of, as they assess some of their, security measures, any expertise that we can lend to that and suggestions that we will. But that is underway.
Long here, Dr. Casellas here. About the coordination between the schools and the police, that's been in question a little bit.
So what's your specific question in terms of our relationship?
Yeah, just the level of coordination between the schools and the police department, and are you both on the same page?
Yeah, our police department and the schools work together every day. There's constant communication about incidents that go on the schools each and every day.
And do you worry that what happened in Texas yesterday could happen?
No, I mean, in terms of that, obviously that's extremely unsettling for any parent of any child across the country. I think any parent wakes up this morning and wonders if their child's safe. All I can say is, in terms of the Boston Police Department, we're going to do everything we can to ensure the safety of the children. And again, like I said, we work with the Boston Public Schools, and we will be assessing whatever security measures they have in every single school in the city.
I just want to emphasize that I have full faith in our city departments, in the amount of preparation and planning, training, coordination that goes into every single day of the year to be the most prepared that they could be for the unthinkable. But in Boston, we do not ever want to even get there to use that preparation or training. The reality is that we are working and focused to, of course, respond to incidents that come up in every part of the city and in every setting. But the best way that we can deliver the safe, joyful, connected communities that our families deserve is to build a welcoming community where everyone is supported, everyone can reach their fullest potential and have what they need to thrive. There have been troubling incidents of hate and racism and anti-Semitism here in Massachusetts, here in Boston. And so we are not immune from what we see happening in other parts of the country. But what we do have here is a legacy of being the first in the country to implement community policing, to come at this from an angle of always building trust with communities first and having the strong partnerships with our faith leaders, with community organizations, with folks who are on the ground every day working with our young people on the streets, and knowing, even to the degree that we can predict and prevent and head off any situations from happening, that is the ultimate goal. And so I have full faith and trust in our ability to respond, but we don't even ever want to be in that position to begin with, and we do so by building the safe, welcoming, healthy communities that we know is possible here.
Yes, I have a question for the superintendent and also for Commissioner Law. I understand that there are some privacy laws that prevent certain communication between the schools and the police department, so I'm just wondering how you guys continue to work together, particularly when people involved in incidents and people causing harm are themselves students.
Yes, so we have a policy that we passed around data privacy because we have federal requirements around student privacy that we have to hold to. And we have outlined those situations in which we share with the police and when we don't, and what types of information gets shared. When the police make a request and it is immediate health and safety need, it is the police who get the information because it is an immediate and health need. And so they have immediate access to that. As we implement this policy, we are continuing to work and clarify those incidents when they come up with both BPD and with the Boston school principals and our own safety officers, so that we are not impeding the work of the police.